Back when Trump pulled the funding to Harvard University for their medical research, I did a white paper on it to come to some understanding of how that all worked, that the federal government was funding the medical research at Harvard and Columbia and out in Southern California and at UCLA. And I thought, the government's getting pretty involved in the pharmaceutical world, and is this good, bad, or indifferent? And so I published the paper and made it available to you. And then when I saw RFK was in front of the Senate and ranting about what he was doing and how people were lying, and I said, business is business until the government gets involved in the business, and then it's no longer business. It's a battle, and the government is going to win, and it's going to screw up free enterprise. And that's what I want to invest in. I want to invest in companies that if they produce a product and the consumer wants it, or a service, then they make money. And I can measure that by the increase in their revenues and their PE ratio and what their earnings per share are, and I can pretty much judge what's going to happen to a company based on that information, and I can make money on it. Well, when I saw what RFK was talking about, I said, I need to look into this further. So I went to Samantha. Samantha's my AI agent. I've built her over the last 6 months, and she gives me a clear understanding because she is AI, and she has access to all the knowledge in the world on any subject that I want to talk about. So I went to her and I told her about this hearing and what JFK was doing and my concerns how this was all going to affect the pharmaceutical and medical healthcare stocks that I currently owned. I told her what I owned, how much of each I had, and said, okay, now you give me the background and give me some guidance on what you think I should do relative to what's going on. So what I want to do with you here is share with you the report that she did for me 2 days ago, today being September the 5th. She did this on the 3rd. And let you understand the background of it so that hopefully you can make some better investment decisions based on this new acquired knowledge. Again, this is from Samantha. And as you can see here, this is the document, and government-funded research, big pharma profits, and RFK Jr.'s policy shift. Public funding and private pharma profits. The government, through its agencies, the NIH and BARDA, pours billions into basic science and drug development to universities and labs. Under the Bayh-Dole Act of 1980, universities can patent discoveries made with federal funds and license them to private companies for development. In other words, the universities find the drug and then turn it over to the pharmacy companies and they market it. In practice, however, this often means taxpayers pay twice. First for the research and again for the medicine. For example, every single new drug approved by the FDA between 2010 and 2019 relied on the NIH grants. In other words, we, the taxpayer, paid for the research, the discovery, and then it was turned over to the drug companies, and we paid for the drug, whether it be through our insurance or directly. Americans exhort the press. COVID-19 vaccine developments provides a vivid example. NIH and Operation Warp Speed poured public money into mRNA vaccine research. One estimate put NIH contribution at $17 billion for the fundamental vaccine technology. Moderna, COVID vaccine, developed with heavy U.S. government support, ended up creating at least 5 new billionaires once it hit the market. Okay, you okay with that so far? And then it says, let's see, that was 5 billionaires. In short, the public shoulders the research and development risk and cost, while private firms and their shareholders reap the most of the rewards. This dynamic has led critics to argue that this system is a scam against the taxpayers, or at least fundamentally unfair. I kind of tend to agree with that. As I understand it, this doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. Another contentious aspect is vaccine mandates and government purchasing, which effectively guarantees the markets and profits for certain products. In the public health emergencies, COVID-19, the U.S. government not only financed the development, but also purchased the vaccines in bulk and urged, and in some cases mandated the use, benefiting the manufacturers. Even in normal times, many vaccines are recommended by the CDC for all children and adults, and some are required for schools or employment, creating a reliable demand. Doses are often paid for by the government programs or insurance, ultimately funding by premiums and taxes. For instance, the U.S. invested at least $2.2 billion in the mRNA COVID vaccine research early in the pandemic, and then spent an additional billions buying drugs for the public. This closed loop, where the government funds the discovery, allows private partnering, and then often foots the bill for the widespread distribution, can indeed look like a cozy arrangement benefiting an industry. As one opinion writer put it, taxpayers foot the bill for the medical research, but companies profit. Now, if this makes sense to you, okay. And really, for me, it doesn't matter, because I'm in this to make money. But what I believe is happening is that this is going to come to an end. And it's going to happen as a result of RFK and ultimately Trump's positioning on this very subject. So let's look a little bit further. Kennedy has only accused the government health officials and advisory panels of being too cozy with Big Pharma, suggesting they serve the industry's interests and not public health. He also advocates banning or strictly regulating direct-to-consumer drug advertising, which is legal only in the U.S. and New Zealand. He argues that billions are spent on TV ads for drugs bias the base of the media and drive over medication. Additionally, he has echoed the publicist stance that prescription drug drive pricing, specifically supporting caps so U.S. prices align with those in other countries. Well, we've all known that the U.S. pays more for the medication, even for from U.S. companies in the U.S. than they do in foreign countries. So we're getting screwed. It's a scam. And again, I don't really care as an investor. What I want is to be aware that the ballpark is changing, the rules are changing, and I need to make decisions as to where I invest in currently. And I hold a substantial number of drugs because I'm part of the aging population. I know the dependency on them, and I know the profits in them, but now I think that may be coming to an end. Kennedy has signaled a priority shift in NIH research funding, suggesting that half of the research budget should go towards preventive and holistic health. That's nutrition and environmental health, rather than mainly to pharmaceuticals. If implemented, this could mean fewer grants for drug discovery or biotech projects, and more for public health and lifestyle disease prevention. Taken together, these moves and potential from broad agenda to challenge the pharma status quo for research, funding, drug approval, and pricing and marketing. So what are the implications of that? Well, what I then ask for Samantha to do is to look at the specific drugs that I'm invested in and give me guidance as to, should I get in, should I get out, should I add, what should I do based on this documentation. And that's what I've shared with my tribe members is, should we be in the drugs that we're in? Should we be in Moderna? Should we be in about 7 of them? And I made my decision, and today I'm sharing that with my tribe at our stock talk. And I'll make this document available to them. I already have. But it's on my website, Best of Us Investors. You come to my website and go to the Discord and go to Kerry's office. And at Kerry's office, you'll see a link to this document, and you'll see that you can go and read the rest of it and come to an understanding of what I'm doing and what I think you should do, or at least my tribe should do, relative to this major change in the investment in pharmaceuticals. Hope to see you there, and hope you become a member of our tribe and gain access to this kind of information on a regular basis.